38 million Americans face a dangerous northeast storm and flash flood threat. More than 38 million Americans are facing a potentially dangerous weather day across the Northeast. And for millions of people living along one of the busiest corridors in the country, the timing could be especially difficult. New York City, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, D.C. all are in or near the zone where powerful thunderstorms could bring damaging winds, large hail, torrential rain, flash flooding, and even an isolated tornado. But the biggest concern may not be any single thunderstorm. It is the possibility that multiple storms could move across the same areas during the afternoon and evening. That means rain could fall faster than streets. Storm drains and small waterways can handle it. And some of the most dangerous weather could arrive just as millions of people are trying to get home from work. So, what exactly is developing across the Northeast? Where is the greatest danger? And why are forecasters paying such close attention to the Interstate 95 corridor? Here is what we know. More than 38 million people are in the risk zone. The severe weather threat stretches across a large section of the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. It includes parts of New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, and surrounding areas. The Storm Prediction Center has placed parts of the region under a slight risk for severe thunderstorms. That is level 2 on its 5-level severe weather scale. But the word slight can be misleading. It does not mean the storms themselves will necessarily be weak. It means scattered severe thunderstorms are possible inside the risk area, and the hazards could include damaging wind gusts, severe hail, and a tornado or two. The Storm Prediction Center says the main severe weather zone extends across parts of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. More than 38 million Americans are potentially exposed to the broader severe storm threat. That includes several of the largest population centers on the East Coast. And there is another threat developing at exactly the same time: flash flooding. The I-95 corridor is a major concern. The Interstate 95 corridor between Washington and New York is one of the most densely populated transportation corridors in the United States. On a normal Thursday afternoon, millions of people are driving. Commuter trains are running. Airports are busy. City streets are crowded. Then add thunderstorms capable of producing extremely heavy rainfall. ABC News reports that some thunderstorms could produce rainfall rates exceeding 2 inches in just 1 hour, and localized storm totals could approach 5 inches in some places. That amount of rain does not need to fall everywhere to create serious problems. A thunderstorm can flood one neighborhood, while another location only a few miles away receives much less rain. That is one reason flash flooding can be so difficult to predict at the street level. The Weather Prediction Center has placed portions of the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic under a slight risk of excessive rainfall. The area was expanded southwestward to include the Washington, D.C. metropolitan region. Forecasters say atmospheric moisture and instability could support rainfall rates of at least 2 inches per hour under the strongest storms. High-resolution forecast models also indicate the possibility of more than one round of thunderstorms crossing portions of the risk area. And repeated storms are important because the first storm saturates the ground. The second storm adds more water, and if a third storm follows the same path, drainage systems can become overwhelmed very quickly. And New York City could be hit during the afternoon. For New York City, the most important period begins Thursday afternoon. ABC News says the worst storms are expected to threaten the city roughly between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. The National Weather Service in New York has a flood watch in effect from noon until 11 p.m. for New York City and other parts of the region. The watch also covers areas around the lower Hudson Valley, northeastern New Jersey, Nassau County, and Fairfield County, Connecticut. Forecasters say periods of heavy rain and scattered thunderstorms are likely. Some thunderstorms could become strong or severe. Damaging wind gusts are considered one of the primary severe weather threats, but flash flooding may become the more disruptive danger in heavily developed areas. The New York Forecast Office says atmospheric moisture is running unusually high for late August. That matters because a thunderstorm moving through a moisture-rich atmosphere can produce enormous amounts of rain in a short period of time. And in New York City, that water has few places to go. Concrete, asphalt, subway entrances, underpasses, basements, low-lying highways. Storm drains can become overwhelmed when rainfall becomes intense enough, and once water starts accumulating on streets, conditions can deteriorate surprisingly fast. The National Weather Service says confidence has increased that parts of the New York region will experience periods of heavy rainfall capable of producing flash flooding. New Jersey is caught between the major metro areas. New Jersey may face one of the most complicated situations. The state sits directly between New York City and Philadelphia. Much of northern and central New Jersey is included in flood watches or severe weather risk areas. Storms moving east could repeatedly cross parts of the state before reaching the coast. Communities with poor drainage are particularly vulnerable. So are roads that pass through low-lying terrain. The danger is not necessarily a giant wall of water covering an entire region. Flash flooding is often much more localized. One neighborhood may remain passable. A nearby underpass could suddenly fill with water. A small creek can rise. A road can disappear beneath muddy runoff. And during rush hour, drivers may encounter those conditions before they understand how deep the water has become. That is why flood watches are important even before flooding begins. A watch means conditions are favorable for flooding. It does not mean every location will flood, but it means people should be prepared to act if warnings are issued. Philadelphia faces both severe storms and flooding. Farther south, Philadelphia is also preparing for a rough afternoon and evening. The National Weather Service office in Mount Holly issued a flood watch covering Philadelphia and portions of southeastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and northern Delaware. The watch began at noon and continues into late Thursday night. Forecasters specifically warn that flooding could develop in urban areas and locations with poor drainage. Thunderstorms are expected to become more widespread as the day continues. Some may produce torrential rainfall. Others could produce damaging winds or hail. An isolated tornado cannot be completely ruled out. CBS Philadelphia has also warned that repeated heavy downpours could result in localized flash flooding, particularly around the I-95 corridor and locations north and west of the city. ABC's forecast places the most concerning period for Philadelphia approximately between 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. That puts the storms directly into the evening commute, and that timing matters. Heavy rain can reduce visibility within seconds. Strong winds can knock tree limbs onto roads. Standing water can bring traffic to a stop. Lightning can disrupt outdoor activities. And even a relatively short severe thunderstorm can create major problems when it crosses a large metropolitan area at exactly the wrong time. And Washington and Baltimore are also in the threat zone. The threat continues south toward Baltimore and Washington, D.C. The National Weather Service, Baltimore-Washington office, says scattered severe thunderstorms, capable of damaging wind gusts and large hail, are possible through Thursday evening. An isolated tornado cannot be ruled out, particularly across northeastern Maryland. Forecasters also say isolated flooding is possible, especially in urban areas. The broader Weather Prediction Center excessive rainfall risk was expanded to include the D.C. metro, and forecasters expect strong to severe thunderstorms ahead of an approaching cold front during the afternoon and evening. For Washington and nearby areas, ABC places the main storm window roughly between 5 and 8 p.m. Again, that overlaps with the evening commute. It also means the same weather system threatening New York earlier in the afternoon could continue producing problems hundreds of miles farther south and west as the evening progresses. Number 10. So what is causing all of this? The setup involves several ingredients coming together at the same time. First, a broad upper-level weather system is moving across the eastern United States. Embedded disturbances inside that larger system are helping create lift in the atmosphere. At the surface, a cold front is pushing toward the northeast and mid-Atlantic. Ahead of that front is warm, humid air. That combination creates instability. In simple terms, warm, moist air near the ground wants to rise. When it rises quickly enough, thunderstorms can develop. But instability alone does not create severe weather. Winds also change with height. That can help thunderstorms become more organized. The Storm Prediction Center says conditions could support scattered strong to severe thunderstorms across parts of the region. Damaging winds appear to be the most widespread concern, but hail and a tornado or two are also possible. At the same time, the atmosphere is carrying a large amount of moisture. The New York National Weather Service office says precipitable water values could approach about 1.75 inches. That is unusually moist for this time of year. And when strong thunderstorms tap into that moisture, the result can be extremely heavy rainfall. So this is not simply a wind event, and it is not simply a flooding event. It is both. Yes. Ndiridi why 2 inches of rain in an hour is so dangerous. 2 inches of rain may not sound extraordinary when measured over an entire day, but 2 inches in 1 hour is completely different. Urban drainage systems have limits. When rain falls faster than those systems can remove the water, streets begin to flood. Water flows toward the lowest locations: underpasses, tunnels, parking garages, basements, small streams, low sections of highways. And because the rainfall is concentrated into such a short period, people may have very little time to react. The Weather Prediction Center says the strongest thunderstorms may produce rainfall rates of at least 2 inches per hour. Forecast guidance also suggests multiple rounds of thunderstorms are possible. That is the combination meteorologists worry about, not simply heavy rain falling repeatedly. Cities here, localized totals could become much higher. Most people in the risk area will not receive 5 inches of rain. That is important to understand. Weather forecasts describe possibilities across a very large region. Thunderstorms are uneven, but some forecast guidance indicates pockets of much higher rainfall are possible. The Weather Prediction Center says model probabilities for more than 3 inches of rain over 24 hours are significant within parts of the excessive rainfall risk area. Some guidance even shows the possibility of amounts above 5 inches in portions of upstate New York. ABC News similarly reports that localized totals could reach 5 inches. So the question is not whether every city receives that much rain. The question is where the strongest storms repeatedly track, and that may not become completely clear until the thunderstorms actually develop. The tornado threat is lower, but it is not zero. Tornadoes are getting attention in this forecast, but they should be placed in context. The most widespread severe weather threat appears to be damaging winds. Hail is also possible. The tornado risk is more limited. The Storm Prediction Center says a tornado or two may accompany storms across the broader Northeast and Mid-Atlantic risk area. The Baltimore Washington National Weather Service specifically says an isolated tornado cannot be ruled out across northeastern Maryland. That means most people will never see a tornado. But anyone who receives a tornado warning should take it seriously. Do not wait to see a funnel. Do not go outside to film it. Move into a sturdy building. Go to the lowest level available. Stay away from windows. And put as many walls between yourself and the outside as possible. Flooding may be the threat people underestimate. There is another danger that often appears less dramatic on camera. Floodwater. It can look shallow. It can look slow, and drivers sometimes assume they can make it through. That can be a deadly mistake. The National Weather Service says only about 6 inches of fast-moving water can knock an adult off their feet. About 12 inches of moving water can carry away many cars, and deeper moving water can sweep away larger vehicles. You also cannot see what has happened to the road beneath the water. The pavement may still be there, or part of it may have washed away. That is why the National Weather Service uses the warning. Turn around, don't drown. If a road is flooded, find another route. A delay is inconvenient. Driving into moving water can turn into an emergency within seconds. Number says the evening commute could become the critical period. For millions of people, the most important message today may simply be timing. New York City faces its greatest concern during the afternoon. Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Washington face a growing threat into the late afternoon and evening. Storms will not arrive everywhere at exactly the same time, and some locations may see little severe weather at all. But the threat is broad enough that anyone traveling along the I-95 corridor should stay aware of changing conditions. Check official warnings before leaving. Do not rely only on what the sky looks like outside your window. A dangerous storm may still be approaching from dozens of miles away, and when flash flood or severe thunderstorm warnings are issued, conditions can change quickly. What happens after Thursday? The front does not immediately eliminate all storm chances. New York could still see another thunderstorm on Friday before conditions improve. The Baltimore-Washington region may also see storms linger south of Interstate 66 as the cold front slowly pushes farther south. But the broader pattern becomes quieter heading into the weekend. High pressure is expected to move into parts of the Northeast, bringing more comfortable and generally calmer weather. So Thursday appears to be the main period of concern for the major Northeast metropolitan corridor, and the next several hours will determine exactly which communities receive the heaviest rain and strongest storms. Final. More than 38 million Americans are facing a weather threat stretching from New York and New England south toward Washington and Virginia. For some communities, the biggest threat will be damaging winds. For others, it may be hail. A few areas could face a tornado threat. But for some of the largest cities in the Northeast, flash flooding could become the most disruptive danger of all. Rainfall rates may exceed 2 inches per hour. Multiple thunderstorms could move across the same locations, and the strongest weather may arrive during one of the busiest travel periods of the day. The most important thing now is to stay alert. Watch official National Weather Service warnings. Keep your phone charged. Avoid flooded roads. And if a severe thunderstorm, flash flood, or tornado warning is issued for your location, act immediately. Because with thunderstorms like these, conditions can change much faster than they appear. And across the Northeast tonight, a normal Thursday commute could become dangerous in a matter of minutes.